Well, Ulysses, it is a Friday episode, and unfortunately, we don't have Evan Class today. He is covering the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they seem to have. We have hopefully the next best thing for our listeners out there, and that is a mailbag episode on a Friday.
And we haven't done a mailbag episode in a couple weeks, so this should be good. Let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure you check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other traditional podcasting platforms. We're also on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And you can email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Speaking of that, we have a couple of mailbag questions to dive into before we get to our usual Friday affairs of baseball trivia and Name That War. Let's get started. Let's open this mailbag right up.
Hey, Kevin and Ulises. This is Ben Rosa. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. And I just wanted to chime in on my thoughts and observations of this past opening sweep. And first off, there's fire in each of these players, something that we didn't see much of last season, if anything at all. There's passion, there's urgency. I don't know, even the way they're attacking the at-bats, it's just been something, wow, refreshing to see. I have a couple questions. Number one being Brandon Lowe. Say hypothetically we get the same Brandon Lowe we've been getting the past few seasons with his constant injuries and just weak at-bats and his lumping ways. Do you see him being traded? I think I do. That's my theory. I think we've been trading for cash a lot just so we can make a big move and bring in a all-star caliber player to help just carry us the way through the all-star break. Not that we need it now, but it's still early in the season. And that's the only question that I have. I'm excited. I see a lot of urgency, passion with these guys. I'm so fired up. Jose Siri has been great. I think Taylor Walls is going to be a major improvement. And thanks a lot, guys. Let's go Rays.
All right, we thank Ben Rosa for the participation and the comments there. Some hot takes, very hot takes, particularly on Brandon Lowe. And I believe this voice memo was sent before Brandon Lowe had, 4 home runs in a row and is on a tear, barreling up everything and looking like an all-star caliber player, which he is when healthy. Again, Ben Rosa made a really good point about the health and the ability to do that. We know how much time that Brandon Lowe missed in 2022. We know how much time he missed in 2019 as well. And hopefully his back and other issues are gone from him. But I just don't see any scenario where the Rays would want to trade or get rid of Brandon Lowe, considering even with his health issues, that team-friendly contract is just you don't relent from that. And with the new rules changes in effect, we've seen it already this season with Brandon Lowe, where hard hit line drives or hard hit grounders that are pulled, they're finding holes, they're finding windows, where before with the shifts, you hit a line drive exit velocity of 100 miles an hour and it might get caught because they're doing the Joey Gallo defense against you. So I think that in and of itself is really going to help Brandon Lowe tremendously, not to mention the elevation of other players in this lineup to where he has a little bit of protection in addition to protecting others. And I'm fully expecting, assuming he's able to stay healthy for the first half of the season, I have all-star appearance, all-star berth written all over Brandon Lowe, because when healthy, he's Chase Utley, he's Ian Kinsler, he's a legit tooled up, very refined second baseman.
You won't find many second basemen who can hit 283 with a $1 for an OPS. I mean, his OPS right now is at 1041. That's ridiculous. He's got 5 home runs, like you mentioned. Look, before it sounds like we're gonna pile on Ben here because he's a friend of the program, and we're not piling on him. Again, he did send this after only 3 games. It's been a minute, like we said about mailbag episodes. However, I know that he's not alone. I know that a lot of people would want to trade Brandon Lowe, and here's the episode for you everydayers that you can bookmark. And if you're new to the show, well, you can also bookmark it as well. Brandon Lowe is not going to get traded. Not this year, not next year, not the next. It's impossible to trade this much value. It would be, you can't get enough value from untested prospects that would not be worth paying what you just signed Brandon Lowe for 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, again, just let me tell you what he's going to earn this year. He's at 5.2 mil. That's a bargain. Next year, 8.7 million. That's a bargain. 10.5 million. That's a bargain for 2025, which is the first club option. Okay, would be his first free agent year. And then 2026, it would be $11.5 million. Again, that's a bargain for 2026 at age 31. Why is it a bargain? The most expensive is 11.5. People, the Rays paid 11 million to Kevin Kiermaier last year. To Kevin Kiermaier, okay? Yeah. And we all love Kevin Kiermaier and everything that he did for the organization. You put Kevin Kiermaier and you put Brandon Lowe, who do you want on your team?
Yeah.
You'd pick Brandon Lowe 10 times out of 10. So I know that Brandon Lowe can be a frustrating player when he's in a rut, which can happen. He's a streaky guy.
And it's going to happen at some point this season, for sure.
Of course it is. And it's going to be very, very frustrating to watch. But when he's hot, he can literally be the best player in baseball. Let me rephrase that. He can literally be the best hitter in baseball, not the best player, the best hitter in baseball. So again, this episode, bookmark it, you everydayers, and those who are new to the show, because we're getting new subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome. Thank you for clicking that subscribe button and hit that like button right now. It's completely free and it helps us reach more Rays fans. It's bookmark it. He's not going to get traded. It would be a very silly thing for the Rays to do, unless you're going to get Shohei Ohtani in the trade. Right. You don't get Brandon Lowe. By the way, for Shohei Ohtani, you would probably need 3 more guys to get Ohtani back. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, it would be silly to trade Brandon Lowe.
Extremely, extremely silly. And I know that you haven't been the biggest fan of his defense, but he's made some really great sliding turnaround plays where, again, he's showed himself at second base. And maybe part of it is he's feeling great. His body is in a tremendous place. Now, I'll be really curious to see okay, it's not, Omar Vizquel over there, but he's made some solid plays where you have to come up, make a turn, sliding throw.
Wednesday was probably the best I've ever seen him make a play. He actually had to go from the second base position over the second base and throw basically off balance from the shortstop position. And, the Reds challenged it, but the call stood. So that was the best play I've ever seen from Brandon Lowe. He also had a nice little glove flip last year, which was pretty impressive. But no, I think he's either average or right below average.
We're not going to confuse him for, I mentioned Omar Vizquel, I know shortstop, but Brandon Phillips. We're not going to, compare those two players. But I think he's adequate and he more than makes up for it with his offensive capabilities. Now, I will be really curious to see when teams, I think, start to pepper him more with sliders and changeups, how he adjusts and handles that. I think we started to see that a little bit in the Toronto Blue Jays series. But with Brandon Lowe, and again, what's been the whole messaging point for the Rays? The camaraderie and the continuity. You don't take a glue guy out of the equation that, fits in with, hey, it's Yandy, it's Randy, it's B. Lowe, it's Wander. You don't want to upset the apple cart with that by any means, especially as Brandon Lowe, with Kevin Kiermaier gone, he's trying to take more of that onus and that leadership and be more of that clubhouse presence besides what he can do on the field. So, yeah, I think that I fully expect a big season from Brandon Lowe, and I think it would be a mistake to trade him. And I know that Ben had mentioned, bringing on a veteran all-star caliber player. There's no guarantee that that works out. A guy who has a strong pedigree and doesn't do much in a Rays uniform, whether it's the new environment, the new change, you're struggling for whatever reason. I mean, David Peralta, Nelson Cruz, we can go on down the list. So I think it would be very unwise to make that maneuver. And let's be frank, how many guys on this roster have the capability to put together a 5-war season?
Oh, a 5-war season, and I'm gonna go traditional stats here. Ben and everybody else who would like to get Brandon Lowe off the team. Name one player that you can put green Skittles to say, yeah, I believe this guy can hit 40 bombs. It ain't Wander. It ain't Randy. Paredes does not get enough time. No. Luke Rayleigh, come on, be serious. Josh Lowe, the rookie. Wander Franco, he hasn't shown up. Yandy Diaz, the guy that possibly could hit 20. There is not one single guy who could give you 40 pumps. Brandon Lowe has given you 39. Yeah, with the little, the nice bouncy ball in 29 in 2021. But, again, bookmark this. He will live through the whole entirety of his contract. It is way too good for the value that he provides. Brandon, if you have a Brandon Lowe jersey, good for you. That was awesome because you're going to be wearing it until 2026.
Yeah. If he had, if we're just talking money in dollars as far as what teams pay for one win above replacement, Brandon Lowe could probably average 50 games a season over the course of that contract and still it being a net benefit for the Rays. That's just where we're at right now. So, again, I do not see that happening. And again, if he struggles, if there's a time to trade him, maybe when I would think it might have been after that remarkable season in 2021 where he's at his highest. You don't want to sell low on a guy like that. And I feel like, again, across the league and throughout baseball, just as a general statement, I don't think Brandon Lowe is as appreciated and as valued as he should be. And maybe it's part of the market. Maybe it's part of the fact that he doesn't have that chrome or that flash or that pizzazz. There could be a multitude of reasons, but it'd be really, really hard to get back the value in a trade or a deal like that. So expect a lot more of Brandon Lowe coming up. That's just our take anyway. We've got another mailbag question to get to, plus baseball trivia, name that war. But first, we have to tell you about Gametime. Gametime is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. And then the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email, which is a pain, as we all know. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. I have a feeling that somebody used, or multiple somebody used Gametime for the old Taylor Swift concert in Tampa. Boy, was that crazy. So yeah. All right. This next mailbag question, not a voice memo. We always appreciate the voice memos. From Steve Rains. Steve poses to us, how much tinkering, if any, do you think the Rays front office should be doing with the roster over the next 6 weeks, give or take? I'd love to see minimal tinkering. We have an incredibly talented, dynamic team who has earned the opportunity to fail forward. We have the early wins for some cushion, and extra bites out of the apple is win-win.
Well, first of all, good to hear from Steve. It's been a minute, so hope you're doing well. I kind of agree with Steve. I don't think there's a lot to do right now with this team. The team looks good. Obviously, there are going to be droughts, defensively and offensively, and with the pitching, we are starting to see a little bit of cracks in the rotation with Jeffrey Springs being out for the next year and a half. Hopefully, he does the whole Tyler Glasnow time frame, and you could see him potentially in mid-June, late June of next year. But again, that doesn't solve your problem for 2023. If you're looking ahead with Zach Eflin facing the White Sox on Sunday, Glasnow returning in about a month, you get two really good guys very soon. Tosh Bradley has shown his stuff. So you got three guys there. Then you have Drew Rasmussen, fourth. Then that fifth spot. Am I missing somebody, Kevin? Shane McClanahan. Duh.
Yeah. How could you forget about the A word, or what could be the A word?
What could be the A word? So yeah, no, I think it's the depth that maybe has you a little bit worried, because Luis Patino didn't do so hot, still in AAA. Josh Fleming and Johnny Chirinos have done well, but only as 3-inning guys, not really a starter. So if somebody else goes down, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I understand the move there, but I still think that the Rays are holding, they're standing pat for the foreseeable future, because they've created such a big cushion. If you would have seen them a little bit more on the struggling side and kind of dancing around 500, then maybe I would say, hey, maybe they're going to, pull the trigger quicker to make something happen. But right now, I don't see any reason why they need to tamper or mess around with their roster right now.
So you don't foresee, by the time June 1st rolls around, a deal similar to what happened in early 2021, where the Rays trade Willy Adames and get back Drew Rasmussen and JP Fireeisen? You don't see a move of that caliber happening over the next 6 weeks or so?
The only move I would foreseeable in the foreseeable future like that, like maybe in a month or two, it would be something like Luke Raley and or Harold Ramirez being traded off to make some space for Curtis Mead.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question, an interesting point. I mean, I guess it depends what Steve is getting at or asking as far as tinkering. I mean, there's going to be constant bullpen tinkering, and just like last year, there's probably going to be 30, 35, 37 different pitchers used, and a whole lot of guys will get opportunities here and there. And with the way the starters have been damaged thus far, I think you're going to see more openers and bullpen days and bulk guys getting work and opportunities, and a lot of guys that Durham shuffle, I think, is going to be utilized quite a bit. But as far as those call-ups, that's going to be an interesting point, an interesting question. That's kind of what I have earmarked is Josh Lowe isn't going anywhere. I don't think Taylor Walls is going anywhere. I don't think Vidal Brujan is going anywhere. Injuries may have an effect on another guy getting an opportunity, but at what point do you say, okay, we gave Luke Raley his shot, but now it's Curtis Mead's season. Now it's Jonathan Aranda's season. And right now, if you look at the numbers, I don't know how much to read into them, but Mead and Aranda are struggling pretty mightily in AAA. And Luke Raley's cooled off to some extent at the big league level thus far, but he still can definitely, I think, has shown that he can hold his own. But you wonder where that sticking point, that tipping point is, or if the Rays get into a position where there's so many injuries and it's like, we need a veteran arm, we need a veteran starter, and you might see an offensive player or two packaged together, i.e. Luke Raley, i.e. Harold Ramirez, to get whatever arm is out or available on the market. But there is going to become a point. I don't know if it's going to be within the next 6 weeks or it's going to be later on in the season or maybe not until 2024, where you have to make a decision on where's our spot created for Curtis Mead. Is it, we can add Isaac Paredes to the equation, but I guess I would think that, maybe this is a question for another episode or a larger topic, is who's more expendable if you're the Rays? Is it Harold Ramirez? Is it Luke Raley? Is it Isaac Paredes?
That is a really good question. We are saying Curtis Mead for the Luke Raley, Harold Ramirez position, but like you mentioned, he is struggling. So why would you bring a guy that's struggling right now? I don't think that might be the way to go. Who's not struggling and who's also a friend of the program is Kyle Manzardo.
Yeah.
He is not struggling at all, people. So if you don't know his numbers, he has a 923 OPS, a 283 average, and 3 bombs already in 13 games. So could he be a little bit more of a better fit for this team if a Harold Ramirez and or a Luke Raley is off the team, and then you can have a little bit more first base, which is Kyle Manzardo's position, and it's the third position that Curtis Mead himself talked about on this podcast.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a Kyle Manzardo instead of a Curtis Mead. So that's the kind of move I'm seeing. The whole veteran pitcher, I see your point. I don't think they go that route unless there's another unfortunate injury to the guys that make up the rotation right now. If a Glasnow, Eflin, McClanahan, Rasmussen, Taj, if they go down, then maybe they go that route. Knock on wood, that's not going to happen.
I'm glad you brought up Kyle Manzardo too, because that is a guy who I think is a fast riser and continues to be a fast riser, and people need to learn the name Kyle Manzardo. If you've not listened to our in-depth interview with him, you need to go check that out. Maybe not in the national prospect world, or I'm sure Rays fans, if you're prospect hugging to some extent, about him. But Peter Bendix has been throwing little hints that Kyle Manzardo is legit. And Luke Raley, let's be honest, he's a stopgap. Kyle Manzardo, he's a long-term answer. Isaac Paredes and or Harold Ramirez, stopgaps generally. Curtis Mead, long-term answer. So those are points to bring up and think about going forward. But again, I like the point that Steve brought up of, failing forward, giving guys an opportunity to have ebbs and flows to the season, because that's the thing is keeping this group, keeping this core, keeping these guys together, because they seem to be enjoying their company.
Yeah. And
high runs, low runs, whatever it may be. So that special sauce counts for a whole lot. Everybody's talented in baseball, but can you get together, play well together, and enjoy each other's company? That can carry a team to a World Series, quite frankly, if you don't have that one sour, one bad apple, one clubhouse cancer.
Yes, and talking about good team chemistry, guess what? You can build your own team chemistry if you download Ultimate Pro Baseball GM right now. Download it from your app store today and start playing the coolest game for a baseball fan. Okay, if you've ever thought about being a baseball GM, this is your opportunity, because this game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise. You can hire the right coaches and staff. You can scout and draft the players. You can navigate your team through free agency and all the ups and downs of the season. So today, Locked On Rays listeners, you will get a 100% free boost to your franchise when you use the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or guess what? Just take your phone and look it up on your app store. So today, download Ultimate Baseball GM so you can start your dynasty right now.
All righty, baseball trivia and name that wartime. We again want to thank Ben Rosa and Steve Rains for the questions. You can send us voice memos or traditional emails to lockedonrays@gmail.com. We've got other ones that we can eventually get to, but it's a Friday, so we got to have a little bit of fun in the final segment as well. And my trivia question relates to, obviously, the Rays are hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. Every game this season, they've hit at least one. The Rays are also facing the White Sox. So I figured, why not tie those two angles together for my trivia question? Because in front of me, I have a list of the home run leaders, career leaders in franchise history for the Chicago White Sox, 1 through 10. Ulises, I need 5 of those names.
All-time Chicago White Sox home run leaders. All-time. Let's go with the first obvious one, Frank Thomas.
Very obvious and very correct. He is number 1 on this list with 448.
Let's go with number 2, Paul Konerko.
Also a very good guess and a very accurate one as well. He is number 2 on this list with 432.
Can you tell me the number of home runs that number 10 has on this list?
152. So it's a big drop off from number 1 to number 10.
I'm gonna go Maglio Ordonez.
Maglio Ordonez, also a good guess, and you would be correct. He is number 6 on this list with 187.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Jermaine Dye.
Are you looking at the list right now? Is that what you're looking at over there?
No, I'm looking at the AC over here, but but I feel very confident about this list right now. Am I killing it?
Did I ask this question previously?
No, I used to dig the Chicago White Sox when I was growing up because of Maglio Ordonez. You know. Yeah.
All right. Jermaine Dye, that was your guess? Correct. He has 164. He's number 8 on this list.
So those 4 were my lock.
Yeah.
My locks. Now, I'm kind of screwed, Kevin.
I mean, you have 3 strikes.
So I have to think of old-timey Chicago White Sox players because none of the guys in the roster right now have over 100 home runs. There's no bleeping way. No Berger, no Anderson, none of those guys. Did Pasetnik get 150? No way. That'd be ridiculous. Rowand? No, he played in the Phillies for too long to do that. Jim Thome was already washed when he went to the White Sox.
Aaron Rowand, I think, was a cousin of James Shields, if I recall.
Yes, he was. Very nice trivia fact. Okay. I'm gonna... no Gordon Beckham. No way. I'm missing White Sox legends. It must be something.
Michael Jordan.
Got this. AJ Persinski.
AJ Pierzynski, your favorite television broadcast, is incorrect. Strike 1.
Damn it, that hurt. Damn it. I thought I had that.
Chicago White Sox. And as a little hint, I mean, you watched a lot of these names.
Really?
I could have probably made this trivia question, hey, guess 8 of these.
Wow.
AJ Pierzynski had 188 career home runs, but he also played for Minnesota and Atlanta and St. Louis and Boston. 19 years in the bigs. That is insane. As a catcher, too.
That's crazy. Like, that's a man's man. That's a man's man right there.
Mustache going. Also from Dr. Phillips in Orlando.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, he's a Florida guy. Yeah.
He's a Florida boy. A lot of baseball players are.
Yeah. Okay, White Sox. What
You
are
have
we
Thomas,
thinking?
you have Konerko, you have Ordonez, you have Jermaine Dye.
I cannot for the life of me think of any other.
I mean, one of these is just a no-brainer.
Power hitter. No brainer. White Sox. People, write it down in the comments right now. Right now. If you already know who I'm missing.
Pitch clock's running out.
I know. I don't have anything right now.
No more Garcia Parra here.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Gordon Beckham.
Gordon Beckham, strike 2. One more guess. Just give me a name.
Aaron Rowand.
Strike 3.
Damn it.
Frank Thomas 1.
Uh-huh.
Paul Konerko 2. Number 3, you wanted him on the Rays this year. Jose Abreu
Son of a...
with 243. Number 4, somebody named Harold Baines with 221. Number 5, somebody named Carlton Fisk with 187. 6, Maglio Ordonez. 7, Robin Ventura with 171. 8, Jermaine Dye. 9, Bill Melton with 154. And number 10, Carlos Lee with 152.
Shame.
You should have gotten one more.
Shame.
You got 4 that quickly. I fully expected you to get one more very easily.
I guess I only had 4 in the tank, man. Damn, that really sucks. But you know what? I hope I can do the same to you with my Name That War. If you are an everydayer, you know how Name That War works. But if you're not an everydayer and you're about to become an everydayer of this show, well, let's tell you. Name That War is when we take a player from the past and we try to guess, without looking anything up, just using our baseball archives in our mind, what their career war is according to Baseball Reference. And that player for today's segment is a White Sox of the past. He was a World Series winner in 2005 with the Chicago White Sox, and his name is Joe Crede. What is Joe Crede's career war according to Baseball Reference?
Joe Crede. Something tells me he never made an all-star appearance and was underrated. He probably played about 12 years in the bigs. I don't think they were all with the White Sox. I don't know if he ever had a 30 home run season to his name. I think he played third base, if I recall. He was probably more of a lighter hitting third baseman. I'm having the imagination or the premonition that he probably averaged, 275 to 290 and gave you like 18 homers and 70 RBIs per season. With that backdrop in mind, I'm going to say his career WAR is 22.
And as that is your final answer, you did love Joe Crede, maybe a little bit too much, because his career WAR, according to Baseball Reference, is 14.7. 14.7, but he did, you did undersell him on the All-Star. He was an All-Star in his second to last season at 30 years old. In 2008, which inexplicably, I don't know how, because he only had 17 bombs, 248, 314, 460 slash line, a 773 OPS, which was a 99 OPS plus. He is, in his career, he had 140 pumps with a 748 OPS. So pretty respectable. World Series ring, one-time All-Star, one-time Silver Slugger. Pretty cool. And you were right. He did not only play with the Chicago White Sox. His last year was with the interdivisional rivals, the Minnesota Twins.
That's a good name. See, I like names like that.
Yeah. Thought you would.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to stump you on next week's Name That War. I'm already
But like somebody that we know, for God's sake.
You know Shannon Stewart. You know Rondell White.
Zero knowledge of those two
Not that out
guys.
of the question. Okay, what are your parameters? Like,
God, somebody at least kind of famous. Like Joe Crede, you remember Joe Crede. Shannon Stewart. Get out of here. Rondell. I didn't even know Rondell what?
Shannon Stewart had like double the career WAR of Joe
Not
Crede.
memorable, bro. Not memorable.
And Joe Crede he's probably the most unmemorable vanilla player
Did you
ever.
ever see those blonde locks? Are you playing third? Too memorable, if I recall. Too
Oh, man.
memorable. Yeah.
All right. We'll get back on it. All right. Thank you all for listening and hopefully enjoying the Locked On Rays podcast. Stay tuned. We want you to be an everydayer. We want you to listen every single day and interact with us. We love and appreciate that as well. We'll be back next week, hopefully after a series win. See ya.